Show. Today is Monday, April 24th. I almost said May 24th. But if I were to say May 24th, we would be right in the middle of the junkie gathering, and you would not be able to understand me right now because I'm just slurring. But if I... What was that? We would be right in the middle of the junkie gathering, and you would not be able to... What on earth is that?
That was me.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. Scaring me. That's Victoria. She's producing today. This is Jason. For now, he's going to be Jason the intern. We haven't really figured out nicknames or anything like that.
I got one, but my friends call me back home.
See,
but
I never drop anything, Jason.
there you go. Never?
Never.
Okay, we'll put that to the test.
You could try, man. It just doesn't happen. Gorgeous George is here. He's getting waters.
Excuse me?
He's got his pride shirt on. He's ready to go. We want to talk a little UFC, a little Bellator. A lot of MMA going on this weekend. Some great fights.
Really good
And
fights.
a little bit of some controversy here and there with some scoring that we can get into. And maybe some comments from some fighters that are a little unhappy.
Just a tad.
Just a little bit. Victoria, how was Vegas? How was the Backstreet Boys?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Everything was so good. After party, concert, winning, good.
Oh, man, we can't talk about that,
The
huh?
winning.
Ah,
Nope, but I owe Gorgeous George a lot.
man. There's a story I'm dying to tell you. So if you want, take an early commercial, because Victoria doesn't want me to tell it on the air. But
No, we could tell him.
oh, we can tell him.
I could tell him. Yeah.
But it's
Well,
not a
we
good
got
story
20 seconds. We
unless
got-
you talk about.
we don't have to know all the details.
No, but that's
you
the
know.
best part. Is the details.
All right, maybe.
All right,
Maybe we could
All
let
right,
him
Jason.
figure it out in a
So-
puzzle.
you can listen through here. Okay.
Here we go.
This is your captain speaking. We are making our descent into Las Vegas McCarran Airport. On behalf of our crew, we'd like to thank you for flying MMAjunkie Airlines. Now please fasten your seatbelts and put your tray tables in your upright position because the descent is gonna be a little bit bumpy.
Alright, Junkie Nation, it's time to roll, baby, on MMAjunkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Go. This is what we do and why we do it, baby. All night long, we rollin'! Yeah!
The MMAjunkie Radio revolution is upon us. There's no escape. No escape. Through the vast frontier of cyberspace and through a sea of stars in outer space.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
We've solidified our combat communication stranglehold.
We are controlling transmission.
With the use of MMAjunkie Radio and SiriusXM satellite radio technology. MMAjunkie Radio. Commence transmission. Live from MMAjunkie Radio HQ in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Goes.
From the fight capital of the world, inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay, Race and Sportsbook, you're listening to back from Sin City, Victoria. What's up, guys?
Good morning, George.
Good morning.
Good morning, Victoria. How are you?
Good morning.
Nice weekend, everybody. Victoria, start with you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Make some money?
Great weekend in Vegas. I did.
Yeah.
Thanks to you. on that
Wait,
bet.
thanks to me.
So.
Oh, that's right. I tracked one of them. I knew one of them came through the Phillies, right?
They all came through.
Nice.
Victoria.
Oh
Go
shit.
you, George.
Did you go 25
So
or
did
50?
you. A little more than that.
George.
Nice.
I honestly think that I could maybe stun gun her and maybe even you, but the problem is she won't let me say.
All right, you could say it.
All right. So she told me,
Uh-huh.
right? She goes, "Hey, thanks to George, I won some money." I go, "Oh yeah, I remember you guys kind of talking a little bit about something."
Yeah,
She
Friday
put
was
in
a good
parlay.
day. Yeah.
It was a baseball parlay. George, how much do you know about baseball?
I mean, I know the sport, and I kind of have an idea of who the good teams are. And
The answer's dick, right? Really, when it comes to like making a bet.
about baseball?
Yeah. Wouldn't it be dick? I mean, come on. Like,
No, I know who the
compared
good
to,
pitchers are.
Like
and-
people keeping up though, game. To
oh
game
yeah,
and
yeah.
all
No,
that,
I'm not a
like-
daily guy.
Yeah, so you're probably not a guy that should be doing that, right?
Right. Oh no. I should be because I have smart friends that
Okay.
that are those.
But was that one of those? The
Oh yeah,
Parlay
yeah.
Baker?
No, I got those from Intel from Sharps.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
All right.
But I won't take credit. Usually I'm a take credit guy. If somebody does something great and I can take credit for it, I will. But on this one, I can't. I mean, look, I'm boxed in right now. Otherwise,
All right. Well, you're gonna shit your pants when you find out what she did.
okay.
She bet $200 on that parlay.
No way.
Woo!
Did
Yes,
you?
I
Didn't it pay like about $1,200 then?
12.42.
Wow.
Can you believe that? Wouldn't you have been sweating it if she told you that she did that? Because we all think like a typical baseball parlay
Yeah.
is somewhere in the 25. If you're feeling great, maybe.
Well,
50 bucks,
I'll tell you
but-
this conversation I had with her, and I can't remember if it was on the show or side. I think it was after. And so, we were just talking about a possible bet, and I go, well, here's some plays. And I go, so I said 25. I just assumed the chick, she ain't going to bet much, right? Sorry, chicks. I just thought 25, that seems like a harmless number. Or 20, I may have even said. I go, unless you're a baller, I go, and she said something cute. It was kind of like cute, sly, gangster.
I
What'd
know.
what'd you say? You go, I'm all
I
right.
said,
Or
I'm okay.
yeah, but no, it
That's
was
what
something.
that was
It
my
was
word.
something even further than that. Like I go, unless you're a player or unless you're a baller or something like that. And she goes, I do all right, or I'm all right, or something that let me know that 50 wouldn't hurt her.
Mm-hmm.
So I just went, all right, and then I left it at that because I just didn't want to know like any more than that. I didn't, But so if you would have told me guess what she put down, I probably would have said 50, and if you would have said guess again, I don't think I would have went over 100. 200 is pretty legit.
That's a lot. For a
That's
baseball
ballsy
parlay.
right there, yeah.
Very, very.
Especially
I
some.
thought about I even thought about going for 5, but. I
Oh
thought it
my
wasn't.
God!
Yeah.
Wow. Well then,
That would have been nice. I would have came back next month for your party.
Well, that's what I was gonna get.
1,200's not enough to
So,
come back.
What I do remember about this conversation
That
was
should cover
her
the
saying
flight, right?
Something like, "Yeah, if I win this parlay, then I'm definitely coming back."
Mm-hmm.
Now that's kind of changed to, well,
No, she doesn't want to come back.
So, yeah,
I
I mean,
do
you
wanna
win that
come
bet,
back.
you gotta come back for the Junkie Gathering.
I can't this year. Next year.
200. Wow. I think it was Pittsburgh, Philly, and I forget what the other one was because
Texas.
Texas. I get the info and I pass it on, and there was, yeah. Okay. I'll tie it in. There was 5 plays total, but 2 of them were under plays, and I didn't want to confuse her by going. I go just say Pittsburgh, Philly, and Texas. Easy, right? Versus me going under 8.5 in the Texas game. I didn't want to throw her up, but 2 of them were unders. Anyway, get this, goes. On that same day, there was a play that it was 4-3 going into the 9th, and I needed under 8.5. And had it hit, it would have been I think a similar day, something like that, because they were like part of a little parlay group.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the teams got 2 runs in the 9th. I think it was the team that was up anyway.
Oh.
So that sucked because I remember going, damn, I was this close. The final score was 6-3, which was 9, so it went over by half. So, yeah. So she did get the good ones. I went 4-1, but she went 3-0. So that's awesome, Victoria. I'm really, really happy for you.
Thank you. I owe you one.
All right, yeah, I'll send you the PayPal so you can send me my cut.
You got
I'll send it through the VX. Well, how was that's the story that couldn't be told, or is there another one?
Yeah, because she kind of didn't want to say the amount, but
Really?
like, I was telling her
That's
like,
right.
the story
All
is
her
crazy
friends
because of the
Are
amount.
gonna be hitting her for her loans, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Whatever.
How was Backstreet Boys though? Serious?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Really fun. Yep.
So do those guys years later they rally and they bring it?
They did. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
cool.
surprised they could still do that at their age and everything.
Here in Vegas they have these
Not that
residencies. With them?
Yeah,
They're like in their 40s
that ain't that old.
to be singing for 2
I would
You
say
seem like
I would
Elton
say their
John.
voice is more than their physical being. 40, I think they can still. I don't know, but what I was gonna say was, well, Elton John's sitting at a piano goes just his fingers really moving along, right?
All right. How about what's his name? Oh my God.
Okay, go watch Billy Idol. Go watch Billy Idol. I think he's pushing 60.
Yeah.
And he puts on a show. He's drenched in sweat, and like that guy, you can go, wow, like does he do this every day? What I was gonna say was, these artists, they get their second chance in their careers, like Britney Spears and J-Lo's doing something, and they're called residencies. They'll take 2 nights off and they'll do 5 days a week, and then they'll do it for like 2-3 months and then disappear and then come do it again.
James
So
Brown.
I think these guys are rallying. Yeah, that's a good example. I think these guys are just rallying, doing their thing, and then who knows if they'll be back. But I heard early on Britney Spears was just not, no pun intended, she just wasn't in sync with what she used to do with all those backup dancers and spinning and singing and doing whatever. I heard it just wasn't the show to go to. But then I guess she hired a nutritionist and I think did more of a full-time move here to Vegas, got in real good shape, and now I heard if you're a Britney Spears fan or you just want to see a good show or whatever, maybe your significant other's a Britney, I heard hers is a good show now.
Matt says Pearl Jam does 3 hours every night, and those guys are 50. Paul McCartney does 3 hours and 38 songs, and he's in his 70s. Yeah, 40's not that bad, guys. Come on.
I wasn't on that side.
No.
I felt like they could deliver. You were on that side, weren't you? Did you just do a 180?
Victoria was the one that said,
Oh,
for them being 40.
yeah. I like when music is a topic, Erickson chimes in.
Yeah.
But if we're sitting here going, how many were in attendance at Nashville? Nothing. Fucking crickets. Was it a TKO? Did he verbal tap, or what was it? Nothing, man. Editorial's quiet. And all of a sudden you go, Pearl Jam, have they ever been to Albuquerque? Fuck yeah, 1999, 2005, and they're headed in there in October of this year.
He's passionate about a few things, but Pearl Jam's one, and then I think Indiana Jones is another one. That's my favorite movie of all time. Raiders of the
Indiana
Lost-
Jones? Still
Raiders
hanging
of
in
the
there?
Lost Ark. Yeah.
You know what I got caught up in yesterday was Hoosiers.
Hoosiers is
I
great.
caught the very end of it.
That's in my top 5.
And just, the result, but you just want to go through it all over again. In fact, I rewound to when it was 40-34 with 2 minutes left.
Uh-huh.
And I was just wondering, what could South Bend, the Mighty Bears of South Bend, done differently,
Get it into the post to boil.
Well, for one, there wasn't a shot clock back then. But on one of those, even the announcer says they've decided to run a play, and they did. But really, what they should have done was let the Hoosiers come to them and then just hit your free throws at that point. There was no 3-point shot, so it was a 3-possession game at that point. But even then, when they rebounded, remember Buddy came from the end, stripped them, and then hit Jimmy Chitwood. So, anyway,
Victoria,
on that.
Did you watch Go?
Hell no, she didn't watch no Go.
No, I did not.
Yeah, you could tell. When you proposed it before she was gonna leave from New York, I could just tell. She was like, "We'll see," but she filed it under
Maybe this week.
no fucks given.
Maybe this week.
That's a good movie. All right. On Friday night, Bellator, there was another big winner aside from Victoria. It was Patricio, or like Jimmy Smith likes to say, Patricio Pitbull Frady. He defeated Daniel Strauss rather quickly and rather uneventfully. New featherweight champion out at Bellator, was the headliner at Bellator 178. Congratulations to Pitbull, who now goes up 3-1 on Strauss, and I just don't know if they'll do that again. In fact, they're at a crossroads, because how are you going to promote a fifth fight if it's 2-1 and the champion's holding the belt? That one's going to be tough. Even 2-2 would have been tough because the champion would have just beaten Patricio. So you'd be like, well, how do we cycle this one all over again? It's going to take a while, but I wonder if that'll cause Strauss or one of those to just move on, when their contract is up. I was disappointed. I feel like we've had Daniel Strauss on a lot on the show. He's been in studio. He actually looks us up or stops by when he's in town. He's a junkie, man. And the only thing I was disappointed was that the sequence that led to him losing his belt was it was too easy for Patricio, and granted, I'm not the one getting choked, and if someone puts me in a choke, I'm tapping pretty quick too, but he seems like such an experienced veteran with such a good team that a choke like that just shouldn't happen that quickly, you know what I mean? So I don't know if there's a panic that happens with Daniel Strauss or what it is, but I feel like with other fighters who are even less experienced than them, they'll go through their different checks, fighting off 2 hands versus 1, or just, swimming their hands back and not even letting the choke get around, or when they're in the front choke position, same thing, they're fighting the hands. I don't know. I felt like from the application of the chokehold to the tap, there wasn't any sequence of defense, calmness from a veteran like that.
Ring rust, maybe?
Possibly. But if there's one thing you can do, I mean, it was a broken hand. I was going to say, if there's one thing you can do in 18 months that you're off is tighten up your jiu-jitsu game a little bit. You know, you're wearing a cast. I suppose there's some things you could be doing. And
Positioning.
yeah, I don't know.
It just wasn't the best Daniel Strauss.
Between that
He's
and
better
that
than
late finish against Patrick Curran, he had that. It was like 15 seconds left in round 5 of a fight that was going to go his way. Same thing. I just can't believe how there's a little bit of a pie chart, and some of it's unlucky, and some of it is the opposite of clutch. You know, I think you got to be somewhat clutch in these situations. Awareness, general, you know, what do they call it, like generalmanship? Is that a word?
I know.
You know what I mean?
General.
Yeah, being a ring general, especially with that much experience, you know, knowing the time and who you're up against and why are they attacking in certain. I don't know, man. It was just a little disappointing because I feel like he has really, really good skills. He's got an incredible heart. He'll grind you out. I mean, he'll torture you for 50 minutes. He has no ego. He's developed some power in his hands. I feel like he could really be a complete featherweight all around. But this is just a big setback because now he's 3-1 against the champ, and I don't know what to say, man. So I was bummed. Bummed that he lost. Now let's turn the page to Saturday. It was UFC Fight Night 108. Cub Swanson, same division. He defeated Arden Lobov in the main event. You want to talk on this weight class? Let's start with featherweight Strauss and Pitbull, and as well as Cub and Lobov goes.
Well, going back to the Strauss fight, it wasn't the best Daniel Strauss. I mean, you got to give Patricio all the props in the world. He came in prepared. He did what he had to do. But that Daniel Strauss is just he's way better than that, and so that part sucked. But going over to Saturday night, Cub Swanson. I mean, he just put on a great performance. Mm-hmm. I thought there were times where maybe he could have gone after the finish, but I also think that's maybe part of the reason that he's been in trouble in other fights. I think he was much more methodical, much more patient in this fight. His boxing was insanely on point, just striking from every angle, his head movement. He was doing great there, and I thought it was a masterful performance. Question is now, he's in a rough spot, though, because he's got losses to the top guys. But I think he's done enough where now he can get another chance at one of those guys. So what's next for him? I mean, a lot of people were saying possibly the winner of Aldo Holloway, but you got to remember, let's say Aldo wins that fight. Aldo's not the type of guy that says, I'll be ready again in 2 months, 3 months. Like, Aldo goes away for a while. If it's Holloway, that's a fight that we just saw not too long ago, so I don't know. I think that'll be a little bit of a difficult sell. So I think he's going to have to do something again where he goes back maybe to somebody in that range of Artem Lobov and fights again. But if he can put on that type of performance against the top guys, he'd be unstoppable. That was a great performance.
I think what hurt him from getting the finish too was, for one, Lobov had an incredible chin. I mean, he got hit square with some shots, and then he got clipped with some shots. And Lobov, at the most, he may have just given us the knee buckle, but there was really no sense of like, oh my God, you know, he's in trouble, capitalize. You could hear his coaches saying that, but that guy recovers quick. Much respect to Artem Lobov for hanging in there and you know, taking so much damage and yet still firing back all the way to the end. So I think Cub knew, man, I'm up against a zombie. I don't know if I can put this guy away. So I better not go in there and do something where now next thing you know, he's clipping me and he's taking away everything I just did, you know, over the last 20, 22, 23, 24, 25 minutes as that fight was coming to an end. As far as the requesting a title shot, that one will be tough because there's still Frankie Edgar, who if he gets past Yair Rodriguez, even though he's lost to Aldo twice, could have a claim through the Holloway angle, right? And the fact that he fought Cub about a year ago, 18 months ago, and put on quite a performance. Then he's also got to be leery of Ricardo Lamas, another guy who has a win over him. Now, that one's kind of like off in the sunset more. That was 2011, I believe. But, again, he's a quality...
That was like the first Fox card or something.
He's a quality featherweight. So, he can easily be promoted too. So what he has to be leery of, I think we could shake off the fact that there was a head-to-head loss, but if Ricardo Lamas in his next fight puts on a performance, which so did Cub, but I'm talking about that statement type win, then who knows if he positions himself inside of Cub Swanson. Picture like a NASCAR race, like with one race to go, you kind of want to be the guy on the inside with a little bit of a lead, and that's what Cub may have on some of these guys, but those other guys have yet to, I guess, have their final push. Edgar needs Holloway to win. If Aldo wins, Cub might have a shot, because Edgar would kind of be in that same position that Benavidez is in, where who knows if even the promoter wants to see it again, much less the fans. I don't know. And as far as Lamas, I think he just has to hope that Lamas doesn't have a better performance or a more shinier performance than he does. Yair Rodriguez, though, that guy could be trouble, because if he beats Edgar, think about this, and it's a statement win. Think about what that means.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That would be really, really bad. Now, Cub, one other thing he has to think through, and I think he wants to take the rest of the year off, or maybe at least get to the end of the year. That'd be allowed for the birth of the baby, time off, is the return of Mendez, which will be in the spring of 2018. Yet another guy who has a head-to-head win. And once he comes back, so many guys will experience losses that who knows, Mendez might be in a nice little spot there.
Here's the name that I think sounds good to me, and I don't think he has a fight booked. But what if you put him on with the Korean Zombie? It's a big name.
Mm-hmm.
He's coming off a win. I think maybe you can get away with that to buy time to figure out what's going to happen at the top of the featherweight division. If I'm the UFC, though, I want to protect a guy like Cub. That was a great fight, a great performance. People had a lot of buzz. So I don't put him as the main event. I make him a part of another card where he's got to go 3 rounds, not 5 again.
Yeah, not only the training, but the fight itself. You're right. Those are an extra. The Koi fight finished when? Do you remember?
At least the 3rd round.
Let me look it up. But I feel like between that fight and going an extra 2 rounds for this one, that and the preparation is just that wear and tear that we talk about. That is almost the equivalent of some of the the top 10. The return of the Korean Zombie, that might be something for him, man. It really might be. Let me see, Darren Elkins, Dennis Bermudez. Yeah, I mean, he may have a shot, but he's caught between veterans like Lamas and Edgar and the hard-charging young guns like Bektik and Rodriguez. Caught a break with Bektik, but Rodriguez, that guy's got a lot of buzz behind him. I'm not able to pull up Cubs' record right now, but the rest of the card was Ally Quinta defeated Diego Sanchez in the co-main event. What did you think of that fight?
Well, it was a great performance on Al's part, right? I mean, he went in there and he didn't really mess around or nothing. And he was smart, picked his shot, boom, landed it, finished it. I thought, and this is probably a good topic for debate on the show, but I thought he could have been one of those 4 bonuses. However, I don't feel like he was robbed in any way. I thought it was close. Brandon Moreno put on a good, that would probably be the one that I would take away. And I thought Brandon did a good job, put on a good performance, but I think I would have given it to Al on that one.
Well, were there 4 bonuses, sorry?
So Lobov and Swanson were one. Perry for the elbow over Ellenberger, and the last one, I say the last one because I feel like the Perry was just a no-brainer, right? I mean, that was a crazy knockout.
Did Moreno win it?
Moreno got the last one.
Okay.
So if you're going to take one off, it would probably be Brandon Moreno. Mm-hmm. And I think I would have given it to Al over Brandon Moreno. I thought Brandon Moreno did good as well, but I mean,
many things about Al. For one, God, how many times are fighters lined up in front of each other? Like, I thought Alvey had some. He was very limited in his offense because of I think he twisted his ankle really bad in that first leg kick, and after that, we knew he wasn't going to try a takedown. For one, Leites is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt.
Sure.
2, Alvey doesn't really, go for those types of takedowns, but. He's right in front of him, and he won't throw the power hand. I'm thinking, dude, the clock's winding down. What are you waiting for? That said, I'm also a guy that had him as part of his 5-teamer, so I'm a frustrated gambler as I'm seeing this. But did you see Ally Quinta? He's positioned like in a 5 position, so he's crouched down a little bit, and he's like a heat-seeking missile.
He's stalking.
And as soon as he got a shot, boom! He was in range. He threw a hard hand, and Diego went out. I think he caught him with the second one. Love seeing something That's the difference between the guys that are clicking upstairs and the ones that aren't. All right? I mean, he throws it. Yeah, there's a risk. Sanchez might move his head and counter, but, I mean, come on, man. At some point, you have to do something. You have to make these kind of statement wins if you want to get bonuses, if you want to continue and progress. So what I want to say is congrats on Al, because that was awesome to see a comeback like that after 2 years. We'll get into post-fight, Al, in just a second. On the flip side, Diego has to see a punch like that coming. To get hit so solidly like that, it just tells me his time is up. I mean, both of them were right in front of him, and for one, I didn't like his defense, the way his body was lined up, his footwork, and I didn't like the fact that he wasn't even able to really move even slightly out of the way of these punches. I know Diego Sanchez is a name, and he's the nightmare, and he's a Lionheart, and he's a dream, and he's this, and yes, but his time has come up, man, seriously. That I'd love to see him in a coaching role, or maybe he has the means to start something within MMA. But man, that guy's gonna get hurt seriously. When he goes out, you can just tell it. He's not a UFC caliber, and I know there's a point where Dana, as much as he likes to let the fighters make money, and I always say the same thing: if the fighter's healthy, go out there and make some money. I know he's reached a point with Chuck Liddell when he said, "I don't want to make another dime off this guy's
talk."
You
right?
You know what I'm saying? I think he's got to have that, man. I'm just concerned for Diego. I like Diego, but I did not like the result of that fight.
No, I agree. I think it may be time for him.
So now we get to post-fight Al, and okay, he had a statement where he said, pay me, basically. I'm back. You saw the result. Pay me. I guess I'm okay with that. He's got a big stage, and even the real estate I didn't mind so much. But once them bonuses came out, he got really active on Twitter. And now, if he's a guy that's basically exiting the sport, I guess he went out in style. A blaze of glory. I don't know. He had a scratch, and he itched it. And he scratched it. And maybe that's that. But I don't know, man. I just feel like I feel like he could still compete. I don't know how far he is away from renegotiating. But I just thought all that could have been handled a little bit better, and maybe he could even be looking at a new contract sooner rather than later.
You look at a guy like Kevin Lee, right, who a month ago flipped off the crowd.
Who Al has defeated, by the way.
Yeah. He flipped off the crowd, and he lost out on $50,000. And I've talked to Kevin about it, and he kind of said, well, lesson learned. But I can't take that, because it's not really lesson learned. People have done things like that before. There's a precedent. So he knew better. It's a situation where you got to go, you should have known better.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those situations. Now, you're right. If his plan is just to continue on with real estate and this is more of like a hobby, then yeah, say whatever you want. But if you really want to advance in this company, that's not going to work. It's not going to help you. It's going to be worse. So should he have done that after the show? I mean, I respect the fact that he's speaking up and being vocal. But like I said, I like Al. And even I think it was close. That if you take those 5 guys and you do the bonuses, it would be close to get him in. I don't think it was like a ripoff or a robbery where you would go, how could Al not be in there? Because Brandon Moreno had a good performance as well, right? So I probably would have told him, look, man, if you want any future here, you probably need to chill out a little bit on that. But if this is just something he does, his hobby, then yeah, go for it.
I know people cheer for the outspoken athletes, but I think there's a way to handle that, balance the two, being outspoken, but not disqualify yourself for a $50,000 bonus.
I want him to make that
for
bonus.
A possible, like, really, really, that's going to be a big Fox show, the one in Long Island coming up in July. Why not be the co-main event there? You know what I mean? And then coming off there, this is all going to go down in 2-3 months. If this wasn't the fight that was on the verge of a contract, I think he's pretty close, isn't he?
Gotta be, right?
Right. Then maybe that was going to be, I mean, now you could be talking about pretty life-changing money. And it sounds like he's got a good handle on real estate. He enjoys doing it. And maybe he's going to get back to that. But he could get back to that in 2 years. I mean, still maybe, I guess, continue doing it when he's not training for fights. But when you have this block of fights available to you on your calendar, I think you just run it, man. You run through with it and you maximize it as good as you can. And you know what? Play them. All right. Maybe you feel like you're getting played because you're not the one making all this money, and you're getting, you're getting jobbed on the sponsorship and whatever. Because he's been gone. This is the first time I think he had to wear Reebok. So maybe you just feel like you're not getting yours. I'm telling you, there's a way to play the system, and at least try and get yourself in the position to have that last laugh. We'll get through some of the other results when we come back. We're going to take this break. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. And if you want to contribute to the show, it's 866-522-2846. Again, I'll give out some of the results there for UFC Fight Night 108, aside from the main event, co-main event that we covered, as well as the main event for Bellator 178. Stay close. Can you Skype?
I believe so.
All right.
They were kicked off the set of The Fast and the Furious for being too loud and too good looking. Once again, here's Gorgeous George and Goes.
This is a jam right here. Can you turn it up, Victoria? This is it's like Calvin Harris or I forget who it is. Avicii, that's right, Avicii. Did you know that off the top of your head, or it's in front of you? Did you cheat?
Well, I got the song.
No, I know, that's
Jason
what I was
the
asking.
Intern.
Okay.
Jason picked the music today.
Oh, Jason did?
Mhm.
Yeah, all right. You like electronic music? We're going to get along. Cool. Avicii, yeah. You know, that guy apparently retired because he was worn out. I guess he said something about the lifestyle or the traveling, the partying, or what. And I'm just not feeling that. They pay you $50,000 for 4 hours of just playing music, and all you got to do is hop on a plane. Literally, when you land here in Vegas, they send a limo for you. They give you a suite. All the dinners from the best restaurants are comped because he has a residency here in Vegas, or he did. He may have come back, by the way, and he was in his early 20s. So it's even going back to Backstreet Boys. He wasn't in his 40s. He wasn't like Elton John in his 60s or his 70s or his nothing, man. All you got to do is just spin the damn music, right? Toast some champagne and then bounce. You know, and if you can't do it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, then just go Friday and Sunday. Ain't that fucking tough? You're just mixing music, man. Holy cow! When I read that, I couldn't believe it. If he wanted to, he could just go, "Where's that mix?" When I did the Ultra, pass it on, and you just give the flash drive, put it in, and just sit there and pretend he's like, mixing stuff. Because all they're doing is pressing buttons. It's not like they're taking out the vinyl, and just making sure that it's not dusty, and then putting it on and letting it spin. It's not old school like what Sam does. It's all digital. So he could basically play it off and just have like an all-time great mix, and then just sit there and be answering emails or whatever.
I'm going to ask a stupid question. I know going in it's stupid, okay? But what I want to know is, how Paris Hilton is a DJ now?
Yeah.
And she gets paid a lot of money to do these gigs.
I think it's more because she's there.
Because she's there.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But is she at least somewhat decent?
Well, no, I heard she hired one of these big names to teach her. So I think basically she's got some decent, easy skills laid out.
Like if you didn't know who it was.
And so now a lot of these programs can match the beat for you as well. So I don't think she could really be exposed. But you're not gonna see her like mixing. Like you ever see, fucking Straight Outta Compton. Remember when Dr. Dre's like literally spinning early on, and Cube walks in when he just got kicked out. And he goes, "Damn, Dre, you ain't gonna be singing any of that." But it's all digital, so I think she could just get by.
But if you didn't know it was her, you just walked into light, and
she could
she
pull
was
it
playing,
off.
would you be like, all right, this is pretty cool?
Yeah,
and
because
then
there's
they go,
really
Paris. You go, ah.
There's really nothing that I think they're doing that's just
okay.
extraordinary anymore now that everything's digital. The results for this past weekend, starting with UFC Fight Night 108, it was Cub Swanson defeating Artem Lobov via a unanimous decision. Ally Quinta knocked out Diego Sanchez in the first round. Ovin St. Preux, home state-grown Tennessee boy, defeated Marcos Rogerio de Lima. Submission, he got a Von Flue choke. So good on him. John Dodson defeated Eddie Wineland. I was expecting more from this fight. Sorry, guys. That's just the way I feel, man. I was expecting more from that fight. Both sides. It was a win, but it wasn't a statement win. And Dodson, as much as I love that guy, quality flyweight, I think he's only 1-1-1 as a bantamweight, or maybe 2-1 as a bantamweight. So that was really a chance for him to, I think, make some strides.
He's undersized, though. He really is. That's why he's got to fight like that.
Yeah. Stevie Ray defeated Joe Lazon. Stevie Ray will be a guest of ours. I'm pretty sure we're going to connect with him today, 2:15 p.m. Eastern, 11:15 a.m. Pacific. He'll be a guest of ours, and we'll talk to him. I mean, boy, that first round was not going his way at all. And Lozon is such an exciting grappler. I don't think I've ever seen a more exciting grappler than Joe Lozon. The way he fights for his takedowns, the diversity of his takedowns, he'll trip you, he'll throw you, he'll double leg you, whatever. It doesn't matter. He'll get you to the ground, and then he advances his position little by little. I just love seeing that guy go. The problem is he didn't finish Stevie Ray. and boy, was he worn down. He lost that second round, which he could have won. He could have won, but he lost it.
It
And
slipped out of
now,
his hands at the end.
and now, going into the third, he had two guys that had given him a 10-8. And those same two guys gave a 10-9 to Stevie Ray, so he was up going into the third. Then he wound up giving a couple 10-8s on that side as well. Here's the confusing part. They weren't adopting the new rules. So that 10-8 shouldn't be as... You shouldn't be reaching for your holster as quickly as you're supposed to in 2017. In 2017, the 10-8, you just were so used to not giving those out unless someone really is on the verge of getting finished.
I thought it was, though. I thought it was a good 10-8.
Was it?
I thought so.
But, like, I mean, Lozon was kind of like, you're right. He was a little
Oh,
wobbly.
no, wait. I'm talking about the first
The
round.
first round. Well, yeah, that looked like a
that's
10-8 to me,
solid
too.
10-8, yeah.
Right, but the second round, I wasn't
No.
so sure that
That's
he was
not
going to
10-8.
get the 10-8s. So the one judge that only gave him a 10-9, who knows? Maybe he felt like, hey, if this was the new rules, I would be doing it. But because Tennessee's not adopted those, maybe that's why he was so hesitant. But regardless, going there, the only thing that could cost him was being on the receiving end of a 10-8 himself, and he was, and so Stevie Ray got the win. Either way, I thought both guys showed tremendous heart. Stevie Ray got a valuable 15 minutes in there, now 5-1 as a UFC lightweight, which is very impressive, with a token name. And for Lozon, he could have been this close, man. If he got the submission, who knows if he would have got another bonus. That guy's so tough, but I really, really enjoy watching Joe Lozon fight. Mike Perry defeated Jake Ellenberger. What a difficult fight to watch, because Ellenberger, another good friend of the show, a guy we went to Afghanistan with for 2 weeks almost. We got to know that guy really good. And I thought he was picking apart Mike Perry little by little. Now, that's what you have to do because the other guy was the considerably better and harder, stronger striker, more dangerous striker. But I thought Jake was blending the two. He had gotten that early takedown. He was landing some strikes. Granted, the tide was turning a little bit, but I still felt like if Jake was going to win, I thought the recipe was kind of working. And then he got hurt by Perry, first by some punches, and then by the time they were able to lock up again, just as they're disengaging, man, he landed an elbow that was so frightening because he was still down when they came back from commercial. When they announced the score, if you notice, the camera angle was at a certain angle. There was no Jake, at the presentation to the winner. He was off in the back, and luckily, by the time Perry was done with his interview, by then he was on a stool, and that was really good to see. But he was just literally laid out, goes like someone who had perished or something.
It was a highlight KO.
Yeah.
I really don't have that much criticism for Jake Ellenberger. I thought he fought a good fight. He just got caught.
He got caught, man. That was bad. Somebody asked, I think John Rico said, I'm not a Perry fan, I never will be, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, well, he's a teammate of Jake's, so it could be that. And then others were saying, no, it's just the way Perry's conducted himself over the last few years, the stuff that was overheard by his corner, I guess the lack of maybe defense for what his corner had said, and just the meathead type of person that he tries to be. What I think it was though was he said, "Whoever else you put in front of me, I'm gonna ruin their life."
Mm-hmm.
It's all about timing. If Jake was already on that stool, I think I'm okay with it because that's what they're supposed to do is build up their next fight. And if he's playing the heel role, sorry, man, you're going to hear some stuff that's very uncomfortable. But I felt like Jake was still laying out, and we didn't know where that guy was. And I felt like you have to pick your spot as a heel to take your foot off the gas a little bit. And I think that might have rubbed people the wrong way.
'Cause he's probably got family,
Exactly.
in the front row. It was a little rough.
Exactly.
I could see if they had been talking smack back and forth, then all right, I think maybe
The heel in pro wrestling is a little different because I didn't really hurt you. I just tapped. I just pinned you or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really cut you open. You cut yourself. But here it's a little bit different. I think just wait a little bit. I don't know. I'm trying to chime in on the Facebook. I didn't want to write all that. It's easier for me to just say it on a Monday. And then others are still saying, no, man, I'm harboring feelings from what the corner picked up, his past or whatever. So who knows? I think he should just stick with the heel roll. And all that aside, I still thought it was an incredible KO. I feel like we're saying this every week when we come back, that
we are.
Somebody's up for KO of the year, not just the month, the year. Because that was something. Remember last week it was Matzo?
Yeah,
Sabina
before that
Matzo?
was Darius and Barboza.
And Barboza. Even Carvalho, Romanov, that was pretty nutty too, man. There's some really, really good ones out there. I don't know how they're going to be able to narrow it down. Talos Leighton defeated Sam Alvey. Brandon Moreno defeated Dustin Ortiz. I thought that could have been a possible fight of the night, just because the pace was so high, man. Amazing win for Brandon Moreno. Scott Holtzman defeated Michael McBride. Danielle Taylor defeated Jessica Penne. A lot of people felt it could have went the other way. I thought they were going to give it to Taylor, so I wasn't too shocked. Alexis Davis defeated Cindy Dandois. Brian Barberina defeated Joe Proctor. Hector Sandoval defeated Matt Schnell. Yeah. Let's go. Really? It's time already?
Well, we have one more. It's up to you. You can take it down.
Let's take a couple calls and then we'll rush. We'll blast through that. Brandon has been waiting the longest. What's up, Brandon?
Hey guys, how y'all doing today?
Good.
Yeah, how are you?
Doing all right. Went down to Nashville, so I got a stun gun story. You know, I can be more than happy to say.
Okay.
A few things I could stun gun. I could stun gun Showtime for meeting me 2 hours later than he said he was gonna, but I ain't gonna do that. I could have stunned the Nashville crowd for just being the biggest bunch of casual meatheads ever, but I'm not gonna do that. I could have stunned the guy driving the wrong way on the interstate at 2 in the morning as I'm going home and nearly killing me, but I'm not going to do that. I'm stun gunning the UFC because there is no way in hell I should have been in that arena for 7.5 fucking hours of fights. I love fights, guys, and 13 fights is a great night. But they need to get the spacing done better because walking in technically I was in there at 4:30, first fight at 5:30, whatever, and not getting out of there till past 1 in the morning is fucking ridiculous.
They've received a lot of criticism for that in the
pissed you off
past.
more than a guy going backwards on the interstate?
Yeah. It's basically 30 minutes per fight.
Yeah, it pissed me off more than a guy going backwards because if I'd have got out of there at a decent time, I would have been all right.
I guess, yeah.
It's funny because I think they allot for 30 minutes per fight. That's why there's 4 on the Fox Sports 2 prelims, which, by the way, they couldn't switch over because of a dumb fucking baseball game. There's 162 of them, and that stupid baseball game just had to remain. Why didn't they flip out the baseball game?
They screwed up my DVR.
Oh, my God.
Back and forth. I was like, what the hell? They had NASCAR on the other channel.
Yeah, that was a mess, but it's basically 30 minutes per, and let's say they chopped it down to 25 minutes per. I mean, think to at least for the fight, right? And then 2 minutes in between each round. There's 17 alone. We got to announce the guys, and then at the end we have to have a chance to talk to them. So even if they tightened it up, maybe they could get it down to 25 per fight, and then at that point you're just hoping nobody got kicked in the nuts, or you're hoping there's not ice that they have to clean up, or a clarification on a point being given away from the referee, anything like that can postpone it. It's just going to be the way it works out. Now let's just say you have a couple KOs that happen a little bit early. Could they speed things up? I guess, but again, you're working off these 30-minute intervals. You're telling a guy that was supposed to warm up, hey, you're on at 7 when we go on live at Fox Sports 1. Well, just because there was those other KOs, you can't say speed it up. You're going out there sooner. So it's a tough one. The most they could probably do is chop off 5 minutes per fight, and the most that would save you is, I guess, an hour. I don't know. Would an hour help, Brandon, or would it still be too long?
I mean, an hour would have been much better. Compare them to the week before. The Kansas City card was done at 10 p.m. local time.
I know, but that's because it started. You have a problem with the time it started?
Oh, I mean, that would help, too, but just the overall time. I mean, it started an hour earlier, maybe 2 hours earlier, but still, it got done.
Started 2 hours earlier,
3 hours earlier. Yeah, it's just, there's got to be something better.
Yeah, I think you should have just went with the guy that went the opposite end of the road. But, all right, did you stung on the UFC, guys? Mm-hmm. All right. As far as the meathead thing, I feel like I've heard that from you a few times at different shows. You know what? I came to accept that we're not going to change that culture, man. There's just going to be a lot of dumb mofos out there. There really are. And I remember saying never will one of those people irritate me. I'll just let it go in one ear and out the other until one day at the MGM when I really wanted to shoot myself. And this guy, the worst thing was his dumb jokes were getting laughter.
Oh,
you would have thought fucking Dave Chappelle was in the audience the way people were laughing. That's what pissed me off the most. What people were laughing at him. So he was like digging it, going like, "Yeah, I'm in the middle of a set here, you know." And so of course, kick his ass, Seabass, get him a body bag, you know, all that shit. It was landing. It was landing out there. I mean,
He was slipping.
you could have shouted like, "He's so dumb. His mom's a dodo bird," and everyone would have laughed. I mean, you could have shouted the most ridiculous things out there, and everyone would have laughed. And I couldn't believe it was happening. I was cringing, and I didn't know what to do. I almost poured a beer over myself just to like see if that could change the universe and start spinning. You know, the planet could start spinning another way. Great call, Brandon. Way to lead things off. Let's go to Marco in Waco. What's up, Marco?
Marco from Waco. I want to say congratulations to the new Vegas bowler Victoria. $1,200, man. Awesome. Dude, Jake Ellenberger, man, that was rough to watch, dude. No, I don't got a problem with Mike Perry talking crap because if you want to be the heel, that is a perfect heel, dude. Because now you hate the guy and you want to see him lose. But Jake, man, like he got knocked out by Stephen Thompson, by Robbie Lawler, Masvidal TKO him, and this knockout, he needs to take some time off from. I don't want to see him fight for a long time, get well. Nothing but, you know, recovering that head because that was ugly. That was so freaking ugly. And Coach Swanson needs to fight the Korean Zombie. He already took the Korean Superboy. He got to go through all the Koreans, and maybe we can find peace in North Korea with him, too. That'll let you guys catch you next time.
See you, Marco. We're going to take this last break. When we come back, we'll finish up this run of calls, and I'll give you my thoughts on Cub Swanson and what I think should be next for him. I think I have a good game plan for him. You're listening to MMAjunkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93.
They can drink Mentos-flavored Diet Coke without their stomachs giving a single fuck. They are Gorgeous George and Goes. And this is MMA Junkie Radio.
Goes, do you know when Cub Swanson's baby's due? Did he say August?
I don't know.
Okay. All I was going to say was, stay in shape in case Holloway can't go. There's your Aldo fight. So just stay in shape these next couple weeks as you prepare for the arrival of your baby. And if that doesn't happen, then if Aldo wins, you need to plan your next fight and insist that you're on the next Aldo title defense. Okay. All right? Because you have to be in line with the champion. And once again, Cub, to get by a few of these guys, I think he can do it by being on the same card. And if someone's not ready to go, boom, inserted. Or at least coming off that same night, you just talk up a storm if you can get the... I mean, for Cub to actually call someone out or say what he wants to do is amazing, because in the past he never says anything. He just lets the UFC dictate his future. But this time he says, I want a title shot. So that was actually strides for Cub Swanson. But if he really wants one, align yourself up with what the champion is doing. In this case, stay healthy in case something were to happen to Holloway. I don't want anything to happen to Holloway for sure. Or maybe be there in case Holloway can't, or sorry, in case Aldo can't go. Who knows? Maybe you can position yourself that way too. And then if that don't work, whenever it is the featherweights fight next, which by then the baby will be born, make sure you're on that card. That's my advice to Cub Swanson.
I think it's good advice.
All right, so we'll come back. Get in the queue at 866-522-2846. We're also going to talk to Stevie Ray and Boss Rutten. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM, Rush 93.
Las Vegas turning day into night, turning night.
she really wants to win that number 1 ranking.
I did it my way, lie way too faced, but in my heart I understand. I made my move, and it was all about you. Now I feel so far removed. You are the one thing in my way. 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 You are the one thing in my way.
All right, here we go. It's the second hour of the MMAjunkie Radio Show. Little Calvin Harris for you. Of course, it would have been better if we waited till the fellow Scott joined us on the show. I'm just kidding, Victoria.
We had songs, but they were thrown in the shredder.
I told her, I go, Stevie Ray is Scottish. Maybe she goes, all right, let's throw it on. But I thought she meant when he was coming on. But you can never go wrong with Calvin Harris. All right, I got to eat some crow here. Some of these natives are acting up here in the Facebook chat. Ramundo Martin says, so what's the difference between Jack and Diego? Who's Jack? Could this be referencing me saying Diego should retire? Who's Jack?
I don't know.
Okay. Way to go, Ramundo.
Maybe it means Jake.
Jake, okay. I don't know that Jake's taking as much. He's gotten some KOs. I agree with Marco. Take time off. He also has a family. He's trying to grow his podcast junkies with good friend of ours, John Orlando. I feel like he's got a little bit less less wear and tear, more tread, and time off would be good. But I feel like, look, man, you just beat Matt Brown too, so it's not like, oh my God, you suck, you're on the tail end of a bad run. You just beat Matt Brown too, so I feel like there's just a little bit more there that Jake can offer than Diego Sanchez. Diego's probably like 2-3 years older, but he's had wars, wars, and he's put his body through a lot. Jake at least is an undersized welterweight,
he's the original,
whereas Diego's gone all the way down to 145. I mean, it's been bad. Tony Garcia says, when does this interview happen? We'll talk to Stevie Ray. I think we're going to do something here in about 10 minutes. And, it's all thanks to his mom who was in our Facebook chat last week. I actually went back, looked at the notes, and so she was able to connect me. It's his mom. They say cool. Mom out there, yeah. David Hadchino said, how did your 3 and 5 fight parlay work out? See, I can't tell if he's being a twat or if he's actually just being a fan, listener of the show. He could either be going, hey, how'd that work out? Like really serious, concerned, right? Or he might be going, how'd your 3-teamer work out? You know what I mean?
I think until you know otherwise, it's, hey, how'd that work out?
I'm going to take it that way, too. So Brandon Moreno started things off. He won. He won. He looked good. He wasn't winning early. Dustin Ortiz was putting it on him. But Brandon, man, he's legit, man. He's so quick. He's so good with his transitions. That was a great fight. I wish they could make $50,000 each, too. But he started things off nicely. Then we get to Jake Ellenberger. The fight, as it was unfolding, I was pleased. I knew I had the underdog as far as like the odds were concerned. I also knew I had a guy that had many ways to win as well. He was balancing the wrestling. He was striking. But I also know that Mike Perry's good, man. I really know that. But that's why there's a bigger payout when you take the underdogs. Once Jake lost, the parlay was dead. The 5-teamer lost when Alvey lost. But Alvey, I felt like could have given us a better fight. It's just that ankle, you could tell that was bothering him. Something happened on that first kick where he didn't really block it. He stumbled, and then after that, I thought it was a knee, but it was an ankle. He just could not move. So that killed the 5-teamer, and that's fine. The 3-teamer I was more concerned about. Brandon won, Jake lost, but I was thinking, wow, had Jake won, I would have really been disappointed because Lozon, I thought, was on his way. He was really, really close, taking his back and everything. So my parlay competed, Dave. That's all I can ask. It was 3 underdogs, man. First one hit, and the last two lost. They competed, but I lost $20.
Can I present something?
Sure. Oh, and OSP won, so that would have been part of the 5-teamer. I'm glad I got that one right.
So, the argument, okay, for Ally Aquinta to get a bonus. Tell me if you agree with this. Do you think Dustin Ortiz was more into his fight than Artem Lobov? I mean, he
was winning it.
He was winning, right?
Artem won round 1.
It's close.
Didn't we give him round 1? Wait.
I don't know. I personally gave Cub all 5.
No, there was a fight where we both looked at each other and said, "This guy's up 1-0."
It wasn't that one though. So
yeah,
it wasn't the main event.
Wasn't?
Yeah. Some guy just walked by with a shirt says Swanson a performance, and then give Ally Aquinta a performance. The only guy that gets taken out of it.
Then Mike Perry loses.
All of what?
Then Mike Perry loses.
Or sorry. Okay, so do those two. Well, yeah, you're right. Shit, you'd have to take.
The only thing you could
Mike
do is
Perry
say we saw 4 outstanding performances: Brandon, Perry, Cub, and I mean even choke to choke. The Von Blue choke was pretty impressive too.
They were good fights, so I think you do have to give a fight of the night.
Mm-hmm.
I think they only do that when there just aren't good fights. So yeah, you're right. I don't know. I don't know if I have a problem with them. It was just tough.
What do you think there should be a preference?
But
Should
that's
they
not
have
performance, right?
Should they always be going, okay, no matter what, we got to give a fight of the night here?
No.
And I think they should go in there and going, let's try our hardest to get 4 performance of the nights out. And then if there is a fight of the night, guess what, man? Go write a check to each guy. I don't care if you publicly say it either. We usually don't do this, but pat ourselves on the back. These guys did great. We're going to give them additional money because they, if you're thinking of giving them a fight of the night, it's because it was a great fight. Not only you felt that way, people in the arena felt that way, people at home felt that way. That translates to something. But I think I would like the 4 performances of the nights to almost be a staple. Speaking of the performance of the nights, well, first, here's some figures for you. Attendance, 10,144. Gate, 7,555. 755,000, sorry, is what I meant to say. 180. The fight of the nights, go set it. Swanson, Lobov for fight of the night. Perry and Marino for performance of the night. There you have it, man. I mean, that was it. I felt like we were talking about something else.
It's a good card, though.
Oh, the part. Oh, I know what I was doing. I was looking at the comments here. So you know what? I will take that, David, if it was a sarcastic question.
Now, if he comes back in a few months and says, so how'd the 49ers do? Then he's that guy,
Yeah,
right?
he's a ball buster, right? It competed, What can I say?
You're on his radar, though.
But, if you take Cub, Iaquinta, and OSP, I think 100 pays you 80. So 20 would have paid me 16. What's the fun in that? I'd rather do 20 to try and win 324. 866-522-2846. Cliff's been waiting for a while. What's up, Cliff?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good, man. How about you?
Just dandy. I got no stun gun because I'm from Canada, and in the words of Ben Folks, we're too motherfucking friendly up here.
And what part of Canada?
Calgary.
Calgary. All right. What's on your mind?
Well, Marco from Waco kind of took my question, but I want to ask you guys, there's been a whole lot of fighters putting on like some awesome performances, and then they're hitting the mics and they just seem to be losing all the credibility they have. Like Iaquinta kind of did that, kind of half-ass called out the UFC and mentioned he was selling houses. I just don't feel like that's a very good bargaining chip for him to use. And then, like, Mike Perry comes out and looks like he killed a guy, and then he hits the mic while he's still kind of on the ground saying he's going to fuck up somebody else's life. Like, it seems like everybody is putting on great performances and then losing me when they hit the mic. You guys find that?
Yeah, there's something to what you're saying.
Question is, how soon will you forget about it? There's going to be a card soon.
Oh, yeah,
we'll
that's true. The Dunn tag gets passed on.
Yeah.
Or someone else just gets in hot water.
I mean, who knows how many people were like, wow, Mike Perry's the truth, and then got turned off by that and said, I don't want to buy that dude's Reebok kit. I don't want to be around him.
Could be.
Exactly. I've had that happen with a Mike Perry fight twice in a row now, and I'll never be a fan of that guy. You just can't be.
Yeah, and I wanted to remove myself from being a Jake Ellenberger friend as I talked about it. So that's why I was telling you, I think some people may be on the side of that. Some people might be on the side of the audio that got leaked from his first fight, or just the way he generally acts. But if he doesn't give a shit and he wants to be a heel, great. But I still think there's just times when you like really press it, and there's times when you know, you lay back a little bit. And as far as Al goes, you know, again, easy for me to say. I'm not the one that was in there. I get that. Adrenaline, getting hit in the head. But wouldn't a great time to promote that real estate have been if they were in Long Island and you're the co-main event and that camera from Fox is following you around? Because don't they follow you around and say, well, these are the things the athletes like to do outside of fighting. And he's sitting there selling a house or whatever, you know. And I don't know. I just think there could have been some really good foresight there. And you wouldn't have possibly disqualified yourself from a $50,000 bonus here from, you know, the comments that you made.
I just feel like if he maybe called out a bigger name or something, he could have had a better bargaining chip with the UFC to like, get a better contract or something like that, you know?
And check it out, Cliff. This dude has, like it or not, he has Masvidal as one of his wins. All right, I know there's some people that are out there that disagree, but look at what Al Iaquinta's done, guys. He beat the popular Diego Sanchez. He beat George Masvidal. He beat the popular Joe Lauzon. Sanchez, Lauzon, tough fighters. Ross Pearson, not an easy out, but I know he's probably not top 30, top 40. He's, you know, he's just not one of the ranked guys. Rodrigo Dam, okay, you know, I'm not going to give him too much on that one either. Rodrigo is just not one of the tougher lightweights out there. But 4 out of his last 5 were KO stoppages. All right, he's also beaten Kevin Lee. You know what I mean? So like I feel like there's something to build here. Like, I mean, I really feel like he could have built something here going forward, at least till the run's over, or maybe you capture a world title.
Why does
especially
the UFC
with them
not
coming
think
to Long
that?
Island. What?
Why does the UFC not think that?
Think what?
Why are they not pushing? Why are they not giving him a better contract? What is it that they're thinking, if you had to pick it out? Flash in the pan?
No, I think they wanted. Remember early on when WME took over, they were basically. Well, I mean, this was going back a ways.
Can I give you an example?
I think they just wanted to say, dude, you're in the middle of a contract. They said it to someone else too. I think they said it once to Nate Diaz. You're in the middle of a contract. You know, we're just. I think Reebok. There's just a couple guys that rubbed the wrong way, and that he's one of them. And then he had this knee surgery, where to get to the surgery, who was going to pay for it? I think there was some back and forth on that too, where Lorenzo had to get involved. So I think there's just a lot of headbutting that has been going back and forth, and it's just weighed heavier and heavier and heavier.
I think of his teammate Aljamain Sterling, who was in a similar situation.
Who also said, if I had lost the other day, I was considering retiring. So I don't know, something about what's going on with the camp. Go ahead.
I think they were playing that game thinking, we're just not sure this guy's going to be around and be a top-level performer to pay him like that. A fight like this might have done it, though. Had he not gone the route he did, he could be in a better situation.
Yeah.
Right. He just assured to them that he's, you know, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, kind of. So I don't know where Iaquinta goes from here. I got to take off, you guys. Thanks.
See you, buddy.
Can I make a suggestion for Cliff? If Cliff's going to call back to the show ever again, I think he should play off being Cliff and leave us with a cliffhanger every time. That should be his shtick.
Well, I was wondering, why did he have to scurry off? That might have been the cliffhanger there.
That's it.
Hal from Chicago. What's up, Hal?
Hey, Al, who knows, man? I know he's done some questionable things in his life, and, you know, not to judge people too much, but, they're trashing the hotel rooms, and he was kind of a bully in his younger days. Who knows, man? But I don't really concern myself too much with what Al's getting, but he's a good fighter for sure. But I wanted to give a stun gun to a legend. I mean, I'm afraid about the karma that's going to come back to me for this. But
Is he going to stun gun me?
I want to stun gun Buffalo. No, not a different badass.
A different legend? Okay.
I want to stun gun. Yes, indeed. Buffalo Blue. Buffalo Blue.
All right, what do you do?
He said, not once but twice. I thought maybe he was drunk on Saturday, so I gave him the benefit of the doubt, because we say a lot of stupid stuff on fight night, right?
Mm-hmm.
But even this morning, he confirmed that he would want John Dodson cut. He wants him cut.
I don't want that.
You believe that?
Yeah. Why does he want him cut?
He said he's boring and he's bad for business. So suddenly, Blue went like full Dana, and now some of the best fighters in the world want to be cut. I mean, he wants them cut just because they're, quote, boring. You know, John Dodson is a counterpuncher. I get it. You know, there were some people that were booing on Saturday. But that's his style, man. I mean, what, you're going to cut GSP, too, back in the day? Because he just dominated for 5 rounds and didn't finish, you know. I think John Dodson's fun. I mean, he may not make for the most exciting fights, but he takes what he can get. And he's kind of like Roy Jones out there, you know, just hitting and not being hit. One of the fastest, most accurate, and great defensive kickboxers in the game. And, you know, I just don't know what got into Blue to say that. But
well, what about this whole thing? Can he always fall back on, I'm just a troll?
Blue? Or
yeah,
no,
Blue.
Yeah, this was me. I was like, for real, you know? And
I don't think Dodson
like,
should be cut. Dodson's even talked about fighting Demetrius again, so it tells me maybe he can go back to 125. I think he's a character. He's wacky. He's quirky. He's got a lot of power. He's got a lot of speed. Boxing Eddie Wineland's not easy because Wineland has really, really good footwork. He's rarely in the same spot. But I thought the Eddie Wineland that fought on Saturday was finishable or beatable. I mean, he bloodied him up pretty good. You know what I mean? I thought he could have maybe pressed on that. But see, the thing with Dodson is, like, I don't think he's motivated by winning a title. I think he's just kind of having like, the sport's fun, and that's it. Whereas
I think he was. I think Demetrius kind of took that out of him.
Maybe.
But I think he followed the game plan. I mean, that's kind of the Greg Jackson way, right? He followed the game plan. I think he's an undersized 135er. I think that's why he fights a little bit like that. I think he'd be more aggressive at 125. But, I mean, it wasn't the greatest thing to watch. It wasn't the worst, though.
Okay.
Yeah. And, hey, oh, man, I just got just read a tweet by King Mo. He said he wants that light-skinned daywalker cut immediately, Dodson. So, about that.
All right,
just
man.
Bumping Buffalo Blue there. All right, later.
All right, later.
Bye.
How about you guys? Do you have a stun gun story?
Yeah, I stun gunned Victoria already.
Oh, you did? Oh, that was a stun gun. All right, Victoria, you have a stun gun?
I do.
What is it?
I'm going to stun gun my cousin Maria, who is at your studio.
Yeah, what did she do?
So Friday night after the concert, we went to the after party with the Backstreet Boys, and I randomly got a wristband to go into their, like, blocked off area.
Right.
So I went in.
Wait, randomly. Explain that. How'd you get that?
I was standing there. I was, like, trying to find a way how to get in there.
Right.
And some girl, she had an extra one, and she hands it to me. She's like, here, just take this one. So I take it. I put it on my wrist, but I didn't stick it on. I was holding it with my hand. So I would go in, take the pictures with the guys, meet them, and then give my cousin the band, the wristband. So when I get out, I'm telling her to put it on. She wouldn't go in. She didn't want to go in alone. So I am stun gunning her.
And there was no way for both of you to go in because there was only one wristband.
Right, not at the same time.
Yeah, you're right, man. What's the worst that could have happened, right? It wasn't like it was that scary of a situation to go alone in.
Worst case, you just go up and get your picture and you're done, right?
Yeah, that's
it. Yeah.
In
fact, you can go in and play it off and just come out 2 minutes later and go, oh, it wasn't for me. Or they took the wristband. I don't know. But, yeah, it's something about living life, taking chances, and this was one of them. You blew it, Maria. You deserve that stun gun. I want to stun gun anyone that's ever had a problem with me having a problem with women's MMA. And I think Saturday was a perfect example, and I'll just leave it at that. I've always said I don't mind the division, but give me at least a dozen solid in each division for starters, and then some that could, eventually grow that dozen. And I still feel like we're just not there. We're just kind of milking the same young ladies over and over, and women's MMA is not there. Now that said, you see a knockout like Sabina Matzo, or you see Mackenzie Dern and her world-class jiu-jitsu, and you know that there's a wave coming, but it's still not there yet. I guess it had to grow. Misha said it. Build it and they'll come, but
yeah,
that's
in order
just
for that to happen.
When I hear behind the scenes some of the great featherweights or bantamweights that can't even get a conversation with the UFC because the roster's full, they just don't have enough. Well, that tells me that it's sometimes they want to be the NFL, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. All right, we're gonna take this commercial. We're gonna see if we can connect with Stevie Ray. We may even do it via Skype here. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM, Rush 93. Stay close, won't you?
Yeah. Hey, I remember syrup sandwiches and crime allowances, but
You know that scene in Star Wars where Darth Vader tells Luke he's his father? What if I walked in right after with my voice and was like, I'm your Uncle Walter. Can I get a lift home? That'd be crazy, right? Anyway, here George and goes.
The good thing about going back to Cub Swanson, he is on a 4-5 win streak. So all those key losses aside that we mentioned earlier, a 4-5 win streak's nice. And he's won, I think, 11 of his last 13. Included in that run is Charles Oliveira, Dustin Poirier, Jeremy Stevens, Dooho Choi, and now Artem Lobov. So there's really, really good names. And, okay, I'm being told check Skype. So, yeah, I mean, if Cub's going to make that play and take some time off and be a dad, much respect. But try and line yourself up with at least when the champ's fighting. That's one thing I would add to. Stevie Ray is going to join us in just a second. 27 years of age, nicknamed Braveheart, also known as Stevie fucking Ray. He's a Scottish MMA fighter who's 21-6 overall, 6 KOs, 8 submissions, 7 decisions. He's 5-1 in the UFC, and he's got that win over Joe Lauzon and Ross Pearson. That's pretty legit. You got him?
Looks like we got him.
All right, joining us now.
Hear you.
Let me just move him over there to the screen.
Oh, wait, I think it needs to go.
There we go. This is Stevie Ray, UFC lightweight. Hello, Stevie. How you doing? Stevie Ray, can you hear us?
Hello?
Can you hear us?
You there?
Yeah, can you hear us, Stevie Ray?
Hello?
You there? Stevie, this is
Hello?
George and Goes.
I'm going to need to watch all that again.
Okay.
Well,
no, didn't work. The magic of Skype isn't always so magical. I was saying Stevie Ray is now 5-1 in the UFC, and I think that's the impressive part of the record that he's built up. 21-6, but how's he done in the UFC? 5-6, 2-fight win streak, and Lauzon and Pearson now in his rearview mirror. What could be next for him? I don't know. Also, here's a little fun fact for you. I mentioned that Pettis name earlier. Did you know he fought 4 times in 2016 after being such an inactive fighter and injured? And
Pettis?
I couldn't believe it. Yeah, because I was working on the rankings, so I was looking at featherweight, and I remembered, oh wait, he's moving up to lightweight. So he'll be moved out of featherweight pretty soon. But just I wanted to brush up a little bit on what Pettis has done. I couldn't believe he fought 4 times in 2016.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I'll just do that.
I'll tell you what, we're gonna take this break and we're gonna see if we can solve this riddle. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. We're gonna try and line ourselves up here with Stevie Ray, UFC lightweight. The good thing is we'll be commercial free for the rest of the show. I'll even see if we can turn on the cameras and I'll respond to some of the people that are in our chat. Don't forget we also have Boss Rutten, UFC Hall of Famer, also joining us here on the program. Stay close.
Junkie Radio.
All right, we're back. Coming down the home stretch of another fine edition of MMA Junkie Radio. We do this show 2 hours a day, live from the Race and Sportsbook here at the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino. Stop on by, pay us a visit if you're ever in town for business or pleasure, or both. To be more exact, we're in the sportsbook of the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino. So once you get into either of our towers, the Delano or the Mandalay Bay, just say, "Where's the sportsbook?" Ask any employee, "Where's the sportsbook?" And once they point you to in our direction, you'll see that we face the sportsbook. You can't miss us now. Before we had a little broom closet. You can still miss us?
That was proven this morning by Jason, the intern.
How can you miss us with these bright lights?
I thought he was lying. He goes, "Hey, I'm here in the sportsbook. When you get here, just give me a holler." I'm like, "Yeah." It's a kid trying to make himself look good. He got here early. How could he not see me? He didn't see me. He was over there.
Really? Wow. Before, we had no lights, and it was super dark, so I could see someone not paying attention. I'll give them that pass, but now it's kind of tough. I mean, there's a cage here. There's these lights. And I don't know. All right. Update me what's going on with Stevie Ray.
He's typing right now.
He's typing?
He says he's sure that they incur that cost to get called.
Okay. So what are you going to do?
Can't do anything.
All right. I don't know what to offer. I mean, can you get Skype to work by tomorrow?
We can try, yeah. It's something on his end.
How do you know?
Because we can hear him. He can't hear us.
Oh, he can't hear us? All right, but there's nothing that is on our end preventing
Nothing that we can do.
All right, well, we'll have to talk to Stevie Ray on another occasion. That's a bummer, man. He, like I said, like I told him when I was connecting with him, he got a lot of valuable experience. To have an animal like that on top of you, I mean, a fucking Wolverine like Joe Lazon on your back and attacking you and elbowing you. I mean, those were some vicious elbows that he was throwing. And to get out of that, turn it around, and come back and win, not only did you gain 15 minutes of valuable experience, you gained probably an hour's worth of experience. You taught yourself a lot about, your heart and will. And now 5-1 sounds a lot better than 4-2. And if you don't believe me, there's a few pages that are floating out there. That UFC 155-pound division is like about 100 deep.
Oop.
And watch and see how many are about 4-2 and how many are 5-1 and what the difference is between the two.
He said, he thinks he might have fixed it.
All right, well, I'll just keep talking here until you let me know what the deal is. In fact, I'll talk to Dan. And
Hello?
Stevie Ray, can you hear us now?
Still can't hear you, mate, but if you just give me a call, like if you just phone my number. Alright?
Phone your, okay.
He can't hear you.
Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear
Cool.
us?
If you can hear me, phone my mobile.
Okay.
Yep. Cool.
All right, so we're going to phone the mobile. So
Can you do
now
that,
it's on you, Victoria. Victoria, she's doing it. Okay, cool. Darius from Poland says, Al is a very emotional guy. He's changing it up here to Al Equinta. Al's a very emotional guy, and he reacts instantly on an impulse. I would not be surprised if he tweeted all those comments while being drunk. There is a reason why they call him Raging Al. It's true. It's true. Hey, look, man, I love Raging Al. I don't even mind do you have to destroy a room? Oh, maybe if you do it once, okay. He was tweeting like he was going to do some more destroying. I think there has to be a time where you realize how far you can push it. I think there's a lot of these fighters that have a little bit of that mentality, like the Diaz brothers, Masvidal sometimes. You can get away with it, but I think you also have to pay some dues, and not that Al hasn't, but there's a few more payments due. You know what I mean? Whereas the Diaz brothers, they're paid off. They can act foolish. Their dues have been paid. They're square. Masvidal, a few of the other guys, they're getting there as well. But I think Raging Al still has a few more. All right, let's get to Stevie Ray, UFC lightweight, who won this past Saturday. What's up, Stevie? How you doing?
Hey, what's up, boys? Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Good. Congratulations on your win. A lot of experience there in those 15 minutes versus a tough Joe Lazon.
Yeah, that's it, man. you know, there's obviously some mistakes were made and things to improve on and stuff. So sometimes those fights are better where you can take a lot from the fight and have still got the result as well. So
exactly.
Yeah, all good.
Exactly. I feel like you gained a lot of experience in that fight. You learned a lot about yourself too, because I was making the comparison. It's like you walking in the woods and a wolverine attacking you. That's what Joe Lazon feels like when he's on top of you, because he's such a great grappler. He's always advancing his position. He was drilling you with some elbows, and to be able to get out of not only that round but still come back, dust yourself off, and then put it on him and get with a decision. It's almost like you won. It's almost like you had 3 fights worth of experience in one night, and you got the win.
Yeah, that's it, mate. I've always had that in me, and I believed that Joe would bring the best out of me, and I would be able to let everyone see just how tough I am, and yeah, I mean, it all worked out.
Are you healthy? Can you get on that card that's headed in your direction here in the summer, or do you need to, you have to go see the doctor for any type of injuries?
Nah, I should be good. I should be good for next weekend.
Next week.
Just bumps and bruises, that's it. No serious injuries. So, yeah, it's just basically some bruises. And the most thing that's sore is my elbows.
Oh, yeah?
I
Okay.
think because I was elbowing his skull as much as I could.
Who would be an ideal candidate to face you in Glasgow, Scotland at UFC Fight Night 113? I got to imagine you're either headlining or you're co-main eventing.
I don't even know, man. Because if I had anybody in mind, I would have, called them out on the mic, but I literally didn't know. I'm sure Shelby will have some ideas and stuff. I'll just kind of go with the flow and see what the UFC come up with, or see if anybody else fancies kind of calling me out and doing it that way. But
well, you're 5-1 overall. I feel like you have some cards that you can play as well. You have a good overall record and 5-1 in the UFC. That's why I figured there's got to be a lightweight out there whose ass you wanted to kick all these years. You sure no name comes to mind?
That McGregor, if he's wanting to thing, nah. I don't know. I literally just anybody that's going to put on an exciting fight and that's going to keep helping me get in the direction I want to go. I'm not in this sport to be second best. I know there's a smart way and a process to get into the top, but everybody better believe that I'm here to be the real deal, and I'll be.
Are you still with us, Stevie? Is he there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking, what about Rustam Kabalov? He's coming off a win recently. I think that's a pretty good name. A veteran name like Michael Johnson. His last fight was Khabib Nurmagomedov. I imagine he wants to get back, on the winning side. Are those like the type of names you might be looking for?
Just anybody, man. To be honest, I've never declined a fight ever my whole life. So I usually just whoever Shelby gives me. But yeah, I want either a big name. That if they're not ranked, then like a big name, or someone that's higher than me in the rankings. So I don't know where I'm going to be sitting in the rankings, like as in if I'm going to be 20th or whatever. But as long as it's going to be beneficial to me, I've just got past Pearson, who was a big name, big draw. Past Lozon, another big name. So I want to keep going in that direction. And yeah.
UFC lightweight Stevie Ray joining us here on MMA Junkie Radio. What do you have, Goes?
Stevie, what exactly were the instructions at the end of round one? And was there a piece of instruction that led to you being able to turn this around?
Yeah, I mean, James is my main MMA coach, James Dillon, who was mic'd in the corner. I see him like a fighting genius. He's got a really good fight IQ, and I mean, he's always reading books. He's always, he's just so dedicated to the sport and stuff. And yeah, I mean, even the game plan we came up with was all partly him as well. But he just said after round one, no more kicks. And I know I still went out and threw a kick. I should have listened a bit better, but he just basically said, right, Stevie, that was possibly, you lost that round. It was possibly a 10-8 round. We've got to win this round or whatever. I don't want you throwing any kicks. So we went out, we won the second round. And then the same again, the third round, he's like, right, you won that round, that was your round. But the first round might have been a 10-8, so we've got to win this round. What? And then he said again, no more kicks. And then I remember him saying to me, what are we going to do? And I thought he was meaning like, we've got to go out and stop him. So I turned around and said, I'm going to stop him. And then he just kind of laughed and smiled and says, no, well, he was just like, aye, that would be nice, but you're going to box him. You're going to use your hands. And then I remember thinking as well, I was like, you know what, Ken, I like fighting like that. I like, come on, who's the toughest? It was one of those fights that just brought it out in me a little bit. And I thought, let's put a show on for the fans here. What would have made it so much more exciting is if he was actually throwing back. He wasn't really throwing as much back. He was just kind of covering up and taking it. But I was thinking, I need paid. I need a payday. I had 11 months off last year where I made no money. So I ran into like some debt and stuff. So I'm like, right, I'm getting fighted tonight here, and I'm getting that 50,000. And obviously it didn't end up working out anyway. But
do you feel like if there were maybe 10 more seconds left in that last round, you could have got that finish?
Yeah, man. To be honest, I didn't realise how tired he was until I started putting on him. And then I'm like, he is really gassed. And I felt like I could have done another few rounds. So, but yeah, even watching it back, I'm like, I should have knocked him out in the third round. Should have maybe picked the shots more. But you can always say that after a fight, I should have done this and I should have done that. It's different when you're in there. But yeah, I think if there was a little bit longer, the referee probably would have stopped it.
Well, it was a really fun fight to watch, and again, you showed a lot of heart. Congratulations on that win. You're now 5-1 in the UFC, and with them coming to Scotland and you being healthy, it'd be really nice to see you on that fight card. Hopefully, it's in a position of a main event or a co-main event. And Stevie, thank you so much for making it happen and being available for us to call you. So nice to meet you, mate, and congrats again on the win.
That's it, man. I'm sure I'm due to renegotiate my contract with the UFC now as well, so I'm hoping that, yeah, exactly, if they want me main event stuff, then I can ask them to put their hands in their pockets and get a good contract out for me.
There you go. That's
start living that good life.
That's the way to do it. Thank you, mate, for the time. Cheers.
That's it. No, thanks for having me, guys. Thank you.
Okay, take care. All right, folks, that's UFC lightweight Stevie Ray. Wow, a lot of fighters making it all the way to the end of their contract.
Mm-hmm.
That never used to happen.
It doesn't really even happen in the other sports that we talk about. Now it's just, let's get them right before they have that bargaining chip against us, right?
Yeah, and with them outfits in Russia, that are getting involved. Of course, Bellator is rubbing their hands together. Anytime something's about to go down, that's risky. But who knows? It's like WMEIMG. I know on our end we've made the request to have them on the show, not just the show, but to talk to editorial, talk to anyone. Like, they're just the wizard behind the curtain. This is what we do, man. We just put on fights. But we don't know what direction that company's going to go in, and that's baffling to me. And I know they're pretty sharp cats, but still, I just don't know that. I mean, at some point, talk to the media. What's your game plan here? Talk to your potential audience, your current audience, the ones that give you the 500,000, that give you $10 a month, the ones that buy your pay-per-views. Like, in what direction is this headed? It sure would be nice to get some sort of a statement after 3/4 of a year, and nothing. All right, where do we stand with our next guest, Victoria?
It's ringing right now.
It's ringing. Okay, yeah, it's ringing. So.
Yeah, I mean, just because you're successful in one thing doesn't mean you can be successful in another, right? And this is a business where if you don't have experience in it, it can tear you limb from limb. I mean, it's just not like any other sport. The same way I don't expect somebody to be the commissioner of the NBA and then go on and be the commissioner of NFL. It's a completely different job.
And I feel like Dana, who's their president, still hasn't really spoken much on behalf of that, like really in what direction they're going on. And when he does stuff like, apparently, there's a story on our front page. Dana White lists reason why Floyd Mayweather could struggle versus Conor McGregor. The only way he's going to struggle is if he's going to box him like Art Jimerson, except instead of only having the one glove, the other one's attached to his body. How's he going to lose a fucking boxing match to Conor McGregor? That's just not going to happen.
People would there's great fighters that you could say would struggle. Boxers against Floyd Mayweather. So you can imagine what
there's MMA fighters that could probably outbox Conor McGregor, and they want to toss on the greatest one of all time.
Yeah, that's baffling to me.
Yeah. All right, so I'll do my thing here, and we'll take Dan from Morgan in the meantime. What's up, Dan? How you doing?
What's up, guys? Yo, man, why didn't you ask that guy about those 4 illegal elbows he threw to Joe's back of his head and all the cage grabbing?
He got warned. I didn't see much cage grabbing. There may have been. I'm not saying there wasn't. But I hear you on the back of the head. There was some warnings there. The ref was right on the spot. In fact, I think he went from soft warning to stern warning. So, it was such a tight fit that it's as long as some of it's hitting the ear. I mean, nobody's got a better look than the ref, and the ref's warning him. Then he must be also in anticipation of deducting him a point if he has to. But honestly, that whole thing was kind of rough. Just even connecting, Dan.
Man, the state of MMA right now, if you are not cheating, you are effing up big time, man, because they ain't going to call nothing.
That's the state of sports.
Something really got to change.
That's the state of sports. Anytime you can trudge that line, you're going to do it.
Yeah, man, I want to see more penalties because of this crap. I don't want our sport to end up like all the others.
But Big John McCarthy's always said something pretty important about that. There are fouls that are being occurred, but are they in any way disrupting the flow of the fight? And those close ones, they're going to make the referees are going to make judgment calls. So going back to the fence grab, there's times where I'm hearing some of the refs go, "Watch your fingers," but I'm being told you can insert your fingers in the cage. It's when you
just can't clamp down.
Yeah, exactly. When you go through that motion of clamping down, then that's not good. But I'm seeing some guys barely even touch the cage, and they're getting some sort of a warning.
They're being told not to do it.
It's like different versions of what the referees and how they're interpreting the rules. But trust me, man, the cheating's going on all the time. They're grabbing each other's shorts. It's sports.
Yeah, last thing for you, man. I'm going to change subject. Dana White claims Nick Diaz, all these guys that want to go out and consume marijuana, that they only have to quit for that 1 day a year, 24 hours before the fight.
It's true.
Dana White, tell me how I can quit for 24 hours and I'm going to have 150 nanograms per nanoliter, which is what your freaking threshold is right now. It's not going to happen. People who never smoked their entire life, who took a few hits of a blunt on 420, are going to piss higher than that. And that was like 4 or 5 days ago. So that whole shit that he's saying on Snoop Dogg's podcast is nonsense. Don't believe that guy. Don't believe his lies. Back to you guys. I'm out.
I see it. Well, I'm no expert in that. But when I read the water rules that USADA uses, it said 8 hours in competition. Or it said in competition. Then you go, well, what's in competition? I saw 6, 8, and 12, but I've come to the conclusion it's 8 hours. 8 hours before, 8 hours after, however it is that the body tests you and what your composition's made of and what it can detect and nanograms and this and that. Well, then you know what? Play it safe and don't toke up for 2 days, I guess, before your fight, before and after. But from what I'm hearing, it's in competition, 8 hours before, 8 hours after. If you don't do that and you're not at a certain level, then you're safe.
Hey, man, it just comes down to a simple thing. If you want to be a fighter, this is what you got to do. If you don't want to be a fighter, go do something else. You can do whatever you want, right?
Right. Fight, get paid, and then go took up all you want. All right, joining us now, UFC Hall of Famer, Boss Rutten, former UFC heavyweight champion, also the co-host of the Rutten and Ronaldo podcast. What's up, Boss? How you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. How you guys doing?
Great. Welcome back to MMAjunkie Radio. You're on with George and Goes. Thanks again for doing the show. How about that, man? Another guy from your era, Maurice Smith, a guy that you bled with. You guys fought twice in Pancrase. You both came from striking martial arts. You both competed to the high level of becoming a UFC heavyweight champion. Just got inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame.
I love him, man. He's such a good guy. You know, my memories from him, and that goes all the way back to '93. I remember him coming in with a computer, and he got hooked. He had boxes hooked onto his computer, you know, speakers, and he was already online. I mean, in '93, that was like something completely new. Nobody knew that, so he's a very technical guy. And then, yeah, the way he slowly but surely started fighting. That first fight he had with Suzuki with these weird rules. I don't know if you ever saw it. They put boxing gloves on. That was the first round. The second round, you take the boxing gloves off, and it was included with there was like Pancrase rules, and then the third round was boxing again, or Thai boxing. And yeah, he knocked Suzuki actually out in the third round in Thai boxing, and then Suzuki beat him in a rematch in Pancrase rules. So that's kind of how we started. Same with me, you know, like a rocky road, you know, because we're strikers, we're learning the game. But, you know, finally starting working with guys like Matt Hume, very smart. Yoshi Kusaka came over there, Frank Shamrock. Everybody started hanging out together.
Right.
And sharing each other's skills. And that's when he got big.
You know, I definitely want to ask you about that because nowadays the learning curve isn't what it was before. I mean, sorry, it's a lot steeper than what it was. Wait, am I phrasing that right? What I'm trying to say is back then you didn't have, like, the resources, I guess. You know, the wrestlers were dominating. And, again, guys like yourself, some people were watching, you know, VHS videos, you know, and wrestlers weren't sharing techniques, and jiu-jitsu guys weren't sharing as many techniques. Now it's a little bit different. But back in the day, it was a little bit tougher for guys like yourself or Maurice Smith to pick up all these tactics, all these defenses, all these strategies. And yet you were able to do it and go on to win a world title. Now, I want you to answer that in about 15 seconds, boss, because we're just doing a soft exit here. It's the MMAjunkie Radio Show. Keep it on, folks. We'll be right back in 10 seconds.
On the train, fever, Las Vegas turning day into nighttime turning.
All right, so a little OT there, but boss, yeah, if you could just talk about that, you know, strikers having to catch up to wrestlers back in your days.
You know, it was hard. It was hard to find. You know, he found, you know, Kosaka was a black belt Kodokan judo, so that's really good. And he got Frank Shamrock. You know, his grappling was also better. You know, and West would take that. So I think once I had a Matt Hume, of course, you know, the wizard, and they started all working together. You know, but yeah, it was hard. You know, and it was like you said, you had to watch videotapes, like cassette tapes, and I would just watch fights, and I would see a finishing move or somebody that or a move that came very close, and I would just write everything down, and the next day I would try it out. I had one training partner. Well, the first year I didn't have anybody, pretty much. You know, I found Leon Van Dyke after a while, and then we just started sharing and started working together. So yeah, but that's kind of cool as well, right? Because now you're only as good as your training partners. That's what they always say. I said, man, can you imagine if I would be back like 25 years old and they dumped me in Greg Jackson's camp? You know, now you got all that talent to train with. Oh, dude, that would have been awesome.
Right. Where, you know, I guess what is it about yourself, Maurice Smith, and some of the people that have come over from the striking arts that have been able to, I guess, embrace that, and yet there's others that just want nothing to do with survival on the bottom or learning how to get up or sweeps or anything? What do you think it is about, I guess, the toughness or lack of from some of the kickboxers that they just want nothing to do with it, and that's why they don't go on to do stuff like you guys did in MMA?
Yeah, I call stupidity. It's mixed martial arts. If you don't, you know, like after my last loss against Ken, I came home. I was devastated. I'm a sore loser. I don't like to lose. I really like winning. So, and I said, I got to change. I have to change. If I don't change, I can never, you can always beat me. And then I just start doing it 2 or 3 times a day. And then my next 8 fights I won by submission. Yeah, one with submission control by decision, but the rest are all submissions. So you see, you can flip it around. And I always say, if I can do it, you can do it. I'm not better than you guys. Yeah, sure, somebody may have a little bit of talent, but then you're going to have to work harder. And if you work harder, you retain it better. There's all these things for fighters who have to work harder to get certain techniques. Well, these guys are most of the time very hard to beat because they might not be technical, but they worked hard for it and they don't want to lose it.
Even though you and Maurice Smith fought a couple times, and I don't know how close you guys are right now. I mean, have you had a chance to talk to him, or what would you like to say towards him about, his career and these accomplishments, including Saturday's announcement?
I love it. A big congratulations to him, man. This is a guy I've been following for a long time. I saw him fight Thai boxing against Peter Earth and all these other Dutch guys in Holland. He was the first Thai boxer from America who also did well overseas against other guys. Yeah, he had a few more, but there were not many. Don Wilson, that was a really good one, but then Maurice Smith is in that lineup there right as well, So, yeah, it's for a guy to do that at his age also, he's older than me, and then start. I think it is just because he was already a world champion in Thai boxing. He knows what to work for. And what happens is, you realize, okay, I have to learn this game. He starts learning the game. Start putting himself in contact with guys like Matthew and what I just all talked about. This is just like making yourself better. So it's when somebody does that, yeah, the path is going to be paved out for him, and boom, suddenly he's a world champion. So for him to do that, and at his age, and on top of it, being a great guy at the International Fight League with the team, we had so much fun. These guys were all great guys. Andrew Gracie, the whole old gang, so to say. We were just experimenting, and we did it. And then for him to come out and do it, and become world champion, beat Coleman, and defended his title one time. I believe it was against Tank Abbott.
Right.
And then at the end of his career, I believe he won with a straight armbar. He beat somebody with a straight armbar. It was not a kickboxer, but that was fun. That's the closing mixed martial arts career, right? So finishing your career, you start as a striker, wrap it up with a straight armbar.
Yeah, Duke Rufus's brother. He straight armbarred Rick Rufus. That's right. Boss Rutten joining us here on MMAjunkie Radio. What do you have, Goes?
Boss, can you talk a little bit about the mentality back then? I remember seeing some of the early fights, and a lot of the fighters, sometimes you could say they were very intense, where they didn't even want to see their opponent at all, and then you would see them after the fight, and they would be able to have a beer afterwards. Today, you don't see too much of that. Can you talk a little bit about the mentality, and more towards Maurice Smith, like before your guys' fights? Were you guys pretty cordial? Were you able to talk? Like, when did you guys really become good friends?
Pretty much instantly when I met him the first time already. Like I said, with the computer, he had the whole lineup, the setup in his hotel room with music, the speakers, and the computer, and he was online. I was like, wow, what is this guy, So and I think we're both strikers, so we immediately clicked, and we both had to know how to work for it. So, yeah, that's it, right? That's how you connect. And what was the other question goes? You said the toughness? Oh, no, the toughness, at the time, I think a lot of people, it was new, and I think a lot of guys did not know how to act, so they started acting like they think they should act. You see what I mean? It's like, oh, I have to be an angry guy, because this is fighting, this cage fighting, I got to be an angry fight. And I think once you become a pro and you become more relaxed, it's all about relaxation. And I think Maurice had that with the kickboxing. I had it with the kickboxing, and some other guys already, because we competed at a high level. The kickboxing, well, he had on a higher level than I did. But, it helps. It helps, and I think that was the main reason.
Certain guys, they say, changed the game at the moment. Royce Gracie taught a lot of people that you had to have a grappling side, and a lot of people credit Mark Coleman for teaching guys you got to learn that wrestling. Is Maurice Smith that guy that you could say maybe changed the game and brought everybody's attention that they have to get this pinpoint striking down?
It started with the strikers, right? That's what we thought. Then we got beaten by the ground fighters, and then it was the wrestlers, and then suddenly they started learning how to defend the takedown, and then the strikers came back. It was a really weird wave of things that were going on. But again, it's all with who you work out. Do you want to improve? And if you want to improve, well, you're going to have to work. There's nothing worse than if you suck at submissions and you're really good at striking, then needless to say, if you're fighting, if you're training, you want to do striking because that comes easy. But the thing is, you have to do the other one. You have to make sure that you start enjoying the ground, and the only way to do it is doing it a lot. Once you do that, that's the learning curve again. Oh, my wrestling sucks. Okay, find a great wrestler. Boom, that humor's there. But that was the thing. Just all working together and making each other strong. And now you have a plethora. Look at the training, the facilities that you have nowadays as well, and all the crazy equipment. Everything became better. But it's a beautiful thing to see. You look at these guys, and then you go like, wow. I'm still that old guy, so to say. The old mentality with me is everything is drilling and basics, and just get it in there. Do it thousands of times, And then you see other guys that do all these crazy flips and everything. And I say, that's cool. But do that once the basics are really good. That's when you want to really start experimenting. But first, let's work on those basics. And you need those basics in everything. Now, for me, I never had it in wrestling. It's very hard to find wrestlers in Holland. We had a few schools, Cops, that's one of them I can name, and that's pretty much it. So there's not a lot of wrestling out there. So I figured, it's better for me to become good on the ground and good on the feet than if it goes to the ground, at least then I can handle myself.
Yeah.
That's actually one of the stats that I like the most from the Hall of Fame stats when he interviewed me, because I never knew. I never looked at these stats. I never knew, but it said he never attempted a single takedown, yet he won 14 times by way of submission. You see, and I think that's cool, because that meant that they took me down, and then I just started working on them. So it was a good time. And for Maurice to wrap it off against Rufus, with a straight armbar as well, he went the same path. He started like a month, I think, or 2 months after me in Pancras. So we started right from the beginning. So it's a freaking awesome thing to see a guy like him getting inducted.
Another thing I liked about that group was the emphasis on cardio. You talked about you and Frank and Maurice, and a lot, that became such an important thing in the late 90s to have good cardio. And it may even be like the number 2 most important thing right now. Everybody says wrestling, and of course, from then, depending on what branch you go to, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, whatever. But I think, your cardio just has to be pinpoint.
You're 100% right. What I always say is this. Once you decide to fight, that should mean that your skills are there. And at that moment, the most important thing is cardio above everything else. Now, you're not even going to fight if you don't have skills. So let's forget about skills. You have the skills. There is no such thing as having enough cardio. There never is. You can always get better in cardio. It's actually the only thing you can control out there.
Definitely.
Just run some hills, do some crazy drills. That's what you can control. And if you don't want to push it, well, then we saw what happened in the beginning with certain fighters. Even Tito Ortiz, you remember he lost against Frank because of stamina. And then Tito flipped everything around. And I remember on the bus ride back with him, because I was at that van, and we drove both to the airport, and he started picking my brain about conditioning drills, because we had the 30-minute fights in Pancras. And I gave him a bunch of drills. And then he became known for the guy who was always in great shape. You see, so he used his loss, and he flipped it around, and then he became Tito. Like, he really started fighting well.
Yeah. Hey, one last thing, boss. Mauro Ranallo flew up to Japan, and he broadcasted with Frank Shamrock. A lot of people were asking, could Boss ever fill that role, or were you ever asked? Just because you and Mauro were a team, nothing against Frank, just because you and Mauro were such a team for such a long time in Japan. Of course, you do the podcast together. Is there any reason why you two couldn't get back together at some point?
No, there's no reason. So that could be very possible. We already talked about it. It was a very busy weekend. It was a last-minute thing. They got contacted real fast. I had to go to a wedding anyway, and so I was here. I'm here at Coachella right now. We're driving back in a bit, babysitting my daughter just to make sure that everything is good. But yeah,
that's awesome. You went to Coachella this weekend for the concert?
Yeah, man, it was crazy, and the amount of fight fans there, it was the craziest. It was almost like you walk at the UFC, like at the Kid Expo or the UFC Expo. It was the most craziest thing. I mean, Marines and security, everybody kept. I go, wow, there's a lot of MMA fans in this group. That's a good thing.
Did you happen to catch the English group New Order? They were there on Sunday. They're from England.
No.
There was an 80s band.
I don't know when they played. Yeah, we went later. Like our daughters, me with a buddy. My daughter's best friend is here, so her father is here as well. But we were only at night, and it's so hot here, so I didn't go during the day in the sun. That's not going to happen.
All right. Well, enjoy the rest of your vacation. Thanks for the time, and we really appreciate you recollecting your moments with Maurice Smith, the newest inductee into the UFC Hall of Fame.
Right on, brother. I really appreciate it. You guys have a great day.
All right, you too. We'll see you.
Ciao, ciao.
All right, folks, that is our show. Thank you to Boss Rutten and Stevie Ray, Victoria and Goes. Great job in keeping the ship afloat and getting both the guests on. We made it happen. So, Victoria, go enjoy your $1,200. And again, thanks for staying over. And I guess we'll talk to you in about a week.
Yep, sounds good.
All right, and we'll have to. Jason, you saw what happened. No disrespect. Tomorrow we'll bring you on. We have a gentleman by the name of Jason from the Couve. Goes trying to put that on the map.
Yeah, it's the Couve.
And so Jason's going to come and he's going to be with us for an extended period of time. What are you talking about? A month, 6 weeks, 2 months? What is it?
A little bit over a month.
Nice.
I think it's like 5 weeks, right?
So Junkie Nation, you guys will all get to know Jason from Vancouver. We'll talk to him tomorrow.
Is he Jason the intern? Are we going to give him a nickname? Or?
I don't know. So we'll talk about that and figure out. Yeah, exactly. But that's the role that he'll be having with us. So we're anxious to pick his younger brain and hopefully he can learn a thing or two from us. We are out of here, folks. Tomorrow we'll be back at 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific with another edition of MMA Junkie Radio. Go out there, folks, and be champions.